Yep, there you go. You're all set.
Got it. Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Andrea Jacobs. I am the Emmett County Housing Ready Program Director for Housing North, and this is the Housing Innovations Council Collective. It's been quite a few months since we have organized a discussion group, but looking forward to hearing the presenters today. We have Al Everett from Thrive TC, and Wendy, I believe, Wendy and Curtis from Habitat for Humanity Grand Traverse region, both to present some exciting projects today. So I would love to start with Al and have you introduce your project at Thrive TC and what you've been working on over there. I apologize for not being super sort of in the works as far as the Grand Traverse region, because most of my focus is way up here at the tip of the mitt. But I would love to hear all about what you're doing down there. It looks like you're on mute, Al.
Mute. There we go.
You are?
I'm going to jump on share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see here. It's kind of an exciting project we're working on. For those of you that are not familiar with what's going on over at the college, I got involved, how much you know about my background in commercial interiors and architecture and construction and real estate. I've been involved in different startup groups like Spark in Ann Arbor, Start Garden down in Grand Rapids. And I've always had this thing. I always like to be around people that were smarter than me and getting ideas. And one of the things that I'm really proud of and having fun with is OOPS. That's the Office of Possibilities um, at the college. In fact, I'll go to my next slide here. Screen's not changing. That is weird. Here, bear with me. I'm going to escape out of this and see what's going on. There we go. And it's a group of us that basically there's like two entities at the college. One is focused on college innovation and being disruptive in terms of any new technologies, procedures, processes. And then the other group that meets on Tuesday mornings down at the Common Ground is focused on more of the community efforts. So we operate almost like Pixar does with Disney. We actually operate to get ideas and things like that to hopefully get to fruition. We have several projects that have come out of this. And one of them was my idea. I actually went through and put together a proposal for a concept about 3D printing because of the housing shortage being in Traverse City, and basically took off like wildfire. And what's happened is that we've gotten approval. We've gone to Nashville, received funds. We actually received $35,000 towards the program through a pitch competition we had down in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's evolved. And my partnership and my company, Thrive, TC.org, which is a nonprofit, we actually are doing a development down in the south end of town. And we've started the first internship program at the college, which will transition those students into the 3D program. And so we're really, really excited about it. Don't know how much you know about 3D printing and construction. Essentially what it does is using robots to build homes using masonry products. Very uses an additive, very strong technology. it's very controversial right now. And I think some of the exciting things about it is that it allows you to do different shapes. It allows you to do very unusual things that are a little bit more difficult. But the big thing I like about it is that it reduces the amount of labor on the job site. And as you know, we have an acute labor shortage up here. And so essentially, I can build an entire house with 2 or 3 people. And so it's a little bit different than conventional construction. And this just shows you some of the differences. For example, the upper foundation design using 3D and then using conventional block on the lower level on the left-hand side. I'm going through these fast intentionally because I want to be sensitive to our time. And then you can see the cavity design, which allows you to run your plumbing, HVAC, electrical, all within the cavity. And then the cavity's filled with foam. You can put access points anywhere within the location of the walls. I'm not necessarily a big fan of doing the entire structure in 3D. I like using a combination approach. I like using, for example, 3D on the exterior walls, and on the interior walls using conventional panelized construction. When I say panelized, it's exactly that. We actually build off site using robotics and whatnot and manufacturing. And then one of the big advantages, obviously, if you're not aware of it, is natural disasters, fire, and those types of things that the masonry really does a really good job with, especially with wind. They actually clock winds, over 100 miles an hour, and the structures still maintain their integrity too as well. And we can do it a couple different ways. We can do it inside a building because of our weather up here, or we can build outside too as well. I preferred doing it in smaller components, not being weather dependent, and then actually almost doing it like Legos, and then bringing it out to the job site using a crane and workers to set them in place. And then from a cost standpoint, this is the exciting thing that we're starting to see, is that the volume really drives the cost. The more you do, the less your cost is going to be. And what we're finding is that also that it only takes about 3 months to build a house, depending on the size, of course, but typically on average. Right now, we're using panelized construction. We're building homes in about 6 months, which is kind of almost unheard of too as well. And so from University Partnership, what I've done is brought 3 interns in for our development down south. My goal would be to get one of these to be 3D. I'm still negotiating with my partner and our investors on the ability to be able to do that. But we're putting in 26 duplexes down on South Garfield across from the Bulldog Athletic Field. And we're excited about that. Just started framing these about a week or so ago. And we actually have one of our interns, and then Piper she's giving the guys a run for their money. I'm so happy to see a female sign up for the program. And we want to get more because using robotics, one of the things about it, from a labor standpoint, it reduces the amount of physical requirements that you need on a job site because you're using automation to get the homes built. And learning by doing is really the strategy of what we're going to do. That's going to be the full program. My goal is not necessarily to create a company doing it. Basically, what I want to do is I had the spark, or I guess the idea to get it going. And I'm looking for someone to basically take this over. And we've partnered with a company that just moved out in Greeley. And it looks like from the academic side of the college, but also from the municipal involvement too, and the community involvement, this company is going to partner with Northern Michigan to create a center for doing 3D construction of homes up here. And I think the big thing is that I'm really excited about is Department of Housing is all over this. And so from a funding standpoint, there's grants available right now. And I think the big thing is that trying to focus with the realtors and having a village to get this done. And speaking of the village, Dan Goodchild has been spearheading this, of course, from the college. He's head of the construction division at the college. Carolyn Andrews as well, and myself have been the primary of the core team along with Will Kitchen, who's part of the OOPS team at NMC. But it's really a community project at some point, which is going to take a while to get it going, but once it does. And this was the first one that was done, I believe, by Habitat in partnering with this company, Alquist, over in Virginia. And it's a gorgeous home. I drove by it. In fact, I'm down in Myrtle Beach right now. And I went through there and took a look at it. And it's a very nice home. So.
That's fantastic, Al. I really appreciate the level of collaboration you have and the educational component. I think for our next generation to be aware of all different kinds of innovative design. That's what we're doing here at the Innovations Council, right? Thinking our way through all these different steps, but having that technology component, the educational, in the lab, kind of in the computer aspects, but also on site and working through the whole construction process. That's so key for our next generation of workers, but also for that community engagement component. And I have another question. You said you were looking for a partner and that's the sort of bigger picture partner to buy the 3D equipment and stage those facilities so that other communities or projects have access to that. Is that what you're looking for, or would that take place at the college?
Actually, what would happen, in my mind and vision, the company right now that we've been working with in Greeley, Colorado, they actually are coming in. They're actually helping the city of Greeley. In fact, I used to live out there years and years ago. I used to work there. They're actually helping the city create infrastructure using 3D. And so like your curbs and things of that nature, they have curbs, believe it or not, that have a cavity within the curbs that the water flow that can get runoff actually goes down underneath and through the design of these 3D curves, I guess, for lack of a better word. And so I envision someone coming in, different entities that, what's the word I want to use? That can partner, and they can do it all, but I don't think, I don't know what their bandwidth is like right now. And that's the thing. And I think the key thing now is helping the realtors get inventory of homes. And so I think the key thing is, from a developer standpoint, is to basically start doing some of the smaller homes. And inexpensive doesn't have to look that way. We need to figure out a way to get some sense of volume to help that acute shortage. That's really, because that's really been the motto, at least for we're doing about 10 custom homes a year, but we can't do it by ourselves. That's just, we need more builders willing to take on a concept like this, because builders tend to want to hang on to their blankie. And that's what they've been doing. That's what they've been doing in the past. They do the same old thing that their parents did that owned the business. And so part of OOPS was to be intentionally disruptive and doing something different. And that's what we really need, is someone that can take a portion of their portfolio of business and dedicate it toward housing inventory. And how they do that. And you don't have to have a ton of people to do it, because if you use the robotics, that's really the key. And we can train them how to do that. That's the thing. I want to stay married, so I'm not going to do it. And I'm not ready for another startup, although that's, my wife says I make her tired. But I see the key right now is to get someone to come in from a development standpoint. And really the key thing is what we've been finding is the land. And we found that out when we're doing our development right now down on Garfield, that if you buy the land right, that goes a long ways to driving a successful project. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to hear the sort of project report on the Thrive community. I think, all eyes have been watching that for a while, those duplex homes. And glad to see that progress is being made there. That's spectacular.
Yeah, we're having
Thank
fun
you
with
so
it.
much, Al.
You're welcome.
If there's any questions or comments, please put those in the chat function. We'll be checking those toward the end if you want. Otherwise, I would love to invite Wendy or Curtis from Habitat for Humanity in the Grand Traverse region to talk a little bit about their New Waves neighborhood.
Wonderful. Good morning, everyone. Al, what a fabulous presentation. And I think it aligns and sets us up for what we're sharing as well. So I appreciate this opportunity to share our new project. We're from Habitat Grand Traverse region. Our project manager, Curtis, will be presenting today. And as Al had alluded to, many Habitat affiliates have added offsite production methods and products to their construction operations in order to increase product efficiency and overcome labor challenges and mitigate construction costs. So that's what brought us to today's presentation. Our leadership and our green team, our construction team, has researched and worked hard to be innovative, to overcome all the challenges and the reason why we're all here today. So at that, I will be here to help answer questions, but really the person that you want to go to here is our construction project manager, Curtis Cobb. Thanks, Curtis.
Hello, thanks for having me. Al, great presentation. I definitely want to get with you and learn more about that. I think it's fascinating, kind of along the same lines of what we're trying to do here at Habitat. So yeah, my name is Curtis Cobb. I'm the project manager for Habitat. Been with Habitat for the last 4 years. I'm on my 15th home with Habitat. Before this, I was a builder out in California and moved my family back about 6 years ago. So good to be back where I grew up. So a few years back, our Habitat board tasked me with kind of coming up with a way to kind of save money, try to get more people into housing. As we all know, it's a huge issue trying to do that. So we looked into a lot of things. We looked into a lot of different options. Modular homes. We have the affiliate up in Petoskey area. They're using modular homes very successfully. They're doing, I think, like 10 homes a year. It's just getting pretty costly. It just kind of wasn't the direction we wanted to take. We did look into panelization, building offsite, pre-building walls, leads into, big, storage facilities. It leads into then trucking to the site. It just, a whole lot of extra cost with that. So we did look into some 3D printing. I had heard kind of some presentations on that. It's fascinating. At the time we were kind of looking, it's still kind of in its infancy, and it sounds like it's really kind of developing, and definitely interested in learning more about that. So switch. Okay. So basically what we landed on is the Superior Wall system. And so what are Superior Walls? So Superior Walls, you basically see them mainly for basement use around the area, very successfully. A lot of builders really like them. So basically they're precast concrete wall panels. These panels are built in a factory controlled setting. The ones we get come from Hamilton, Michigan. So the panels are then they're built in the factory, then trucked to the site. They're craned into place and bolted and sealed together. So the walls, basically, you can kind of see here, the walls are basically 10 inches thick. They have all these little chases here for wires. You can see at the bottom, basically, all the concrete kind of locks in the bottom portion of the wall. We install a 2x10 kind of plate along the top, and that's kind of what our trusses then fasten to. These walls have a 6-inch cavity that we can put additional batt insulation in. They are kind of embedded with like 2 inches of foam now. So they currently come to the site as an R12.5, I believe. And so we can get them up to like R32 with our batt insulation. So basically these walls are 10-foot tall wall panels, 8 of them being above grade, and then we have 2 feet kind of buried in the ground for our frost footing. And drywall kind of is fastened right to these walls after we get our insulation in. Yeah, it's a pretty slick system, and then basically trusses are set right on top. Oops, how do I back? bear with me. So this is basically after the excavators come in. This is our site up at the top of on M72 and Bugай Road here. So the excavators come in, peeled off the topsoil, kind of see maybe a pile in the back. They've installed 6 inches of crushed stone footing, and this site is now ready to set superior walls. So this is a pic here of our the first walls going up, and it's pretty amazing and exciting to watch. I mean, there was just a whole line of trucks set up and a whole lot of activity, and boom, boom, boom. Before you know it, a day and a half later, we had 3 houses set. So it's really, really exciting to see how fast this actually goes up, and just to kind of see all this kind of come to fruition. So it's been pretty cool. This is another pic of some walls going up. Oops. This is kind of all the one house kind of completely set with our porch post set here. This is the trusses kind of going up, and it just happens quickly. I mean, we get the walls up, they can start backfilling immediately. It's pretty neat. So this is the walls being painted. So another really nice feature to this is there's, once the walls are set, we don't have to side the structure. This was actually November 15th, I know, because I was out hunting that day. We had a really nice break in the weather. We had a huge group of volunteers come out, and within a day and a half, we had 2 coats rolled on 3 houses. So it saves us a whole lot of time and effort. Like I say, no masking, no windows to get in the way. This is all 5,000 PSI concrete, so it's really impervious to any water. It's a fantastic product. This is a picture of all the backfilling kind of being done inside. All the underfloor plumbing has been installed, compacted, and we are ready to pour concrete on the inside here. And actually, we do 2 inches of foam on the inside. So we'll go to the next shot here. So this is, we had obviously you see snow outside, so we kind of boarded up all the windows, kind of got a nice environment, got our insulation there, and we're able to kind of pour in the middle of winter. So it's good for us that way. Kind of lets us kind of continue to build year round. So this is kind of a shot of all the interior framing up on our project. You can see all the our duct runs kind of going down the hallway here. So all of our homes are all electric. We don't bring in any gas into the homes. We use in this particular home, we're using a vertical air handler. So it's a ducted mini split system, a heat pump. All our duct work is in the thermal. We try to keep everything in the thermal envelope. In all our Habitat homes, and this project also, we're getting Energy Star certified, and that's one of the requirements that we need to be able to achieve that. And at the end of the day, it just, it helps keep all our heating and cooling costs lower, and obviously we want to be able to pass that on to our homeowners. So what does this do for us? This in everybody's way. I'm sorry. So benefits of Superior Walls for our Habitat homes. So it greatly speeds up construction. I think at least 6 weeks, per home. And we're still in the process of doing these homes. I'm not exactly sure on how everything's going to wind up, but they're extremely quiet. So our site up at the top of the hill there is super windy. It's super windy. You get inside of these homes and it's just everything quiets down. So it's absolutely, the perfect site to use these wall systems. So zero maintenance on the exterior. They're just going to last forever. I think for our homeowners, it's just, they won't have to deal with replacing siding and any of that. So it should last a long time for them. So it eliminates a lot of steps for us also. So we don't have to normally on our Habitat homes, we do a concrete footing with, with rebar. We normally do an ICF foundation. We don't need to do any of that with any rebar, and then fill the entire thing with concrete. So no exterior walls or headers needed. All that's kind of incorporated in the exterior wall sections with the spear wall. No OSB or foam needed for the outside. On our normal Habitat homes, we put 2 inches of foam around the perimeter to keep everything really nice and insulated. And then, of course, no siding. Just, we only side, obviously all the gables will be sided. So this is kind of where they sit as our houses sit right now, the current state of our homes. So, yeah, so you can see we'll end up putting trim around the doors and, the garage doors and the doors, and then side the gables. But they're just under 1,200 square foot houses. They're 3-bedroom, bath and a half. And like I say, we'll probably dress them up here a little bit, maybe some board and batten on the gables, or some vinyl shake. This kind of shows you the development layout up there. So the areas in green here are all our 6 Habitat homes. We are in a partnership with New Waves Church. So their plan is to, all the blue homes here, their plan was to do some low-income rentals. I'm not sure where they are with trying to get funding for all that. There may be a good chance that Habitat winds up with all the rest of the homes. That's still kind of in the works right now. And then this turquoise one here is their kind of staff home, kind of pastor home area. So like I say, we currently have the pastor's home and then these 2 green houses under construction at the moment. I'll just play this really quick. My brother-in-law has a drone, and I brought him out. I just thought it was kind of a fun shot. Kind of gives you some of my guys that are working. This is kind of a fun shot of the site. It's close to home. I mean, this is going to be a great spot for our homeowners that work in Traverse City or Leelanau County to be able to have access to work and all the fun stuff at Traverse City. There you can see the other 2 homes, the 2 Habitat homes, and this is their staff home here. So. Oops. And this is just kind of a rendering of the whole neighborhood. So this is kind of the neighborhood all built out, obviously. They have some really nice kind of common area here. I believe there's like 10 acres in the back for future kind of hiking trails, or who knows, maybe more housing in the future. So I think that's, maybe I have any more photos. I think that's it. Any questions?
It's fantastic. I would love to give your team or anybody else the opportunity to weigh in a little bit. My other question that I had was, do you use a panelized construction for the interior walls as well, or are you building those on site?
We just stick build those on site. Yeah, we just kind of take care of that on site, and that's for us. It's pretty easy. It doesn't take a whole lot of time for us to do. And we have a lot of volunteers that come. We have some core volunteers, a fairly sizable group that some of them show up several times a week to help us out. So we never know what kind of volunteers we're going to have from day to day, but we have some pretty skilled volunteers that help us out as well. So.
Hey, Curtis, I had a question. I'm Ron Hart from Sheboygan Habitat.
Oh, hi.
Hi. I was wondering, what do you got in those buildings for cost? Each individual, like
you're talking just the Superior Wall or the whole?
Just the Superior Wall.
So with Superior Wall, I was able to kind of work out a deal with doing 3 or more, and that landed us more like $28,000 a house.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah.
For
So
the,
we're able-
all the exterior walls and no, you don't have to worry about
Exactly.
finishing so much except for paint.
I mean, like I say, it saves all the siding, it saves all the time and effort. And as we all know, time is money. So yeah, it greatly speeds everything up for us. Yeah, so I think we were able to save, I think like $4,000 a house by doing multiple at a time.
Oh, that's good. That's a good deal. Good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, that's really fantastic system, and thank you for sharing all of your research and time that you put into that. You know, when you create that relationship for a product, I love the fact that you're sourcing it through a Michigan company. That means a lot to all of us too, and gives us the opportunity, regionally and holistically as a state to be taking those bold steps forward into new and different systems like Al was talking about earlier. If we have companies that are willing to step into that space of possibility and really practically engage with the developers, it's really transformative. And I love the idea of dialing down those forever costs for homeowners, because those can be really, really burdensome, whether it's energy efficiency, month by month, or, those long-term, really expensive investments like siding and things that have to be upgraded or, redone from time to time. And it's really difficult for a lot of our community members to be saving up for those things, and especially with the expenses that they're facing right now. So that it's really spectacular. Wendy, did you want to follow up at all?
I will add for everybody here that when Curtis and his construction team and our green team, who has been working together for many, many years, they designed the Depot neighborhood years ago, the Net Zero project in Traverse City. When they were tasked to help us overcome these challenges and brought it to the leadership for decisions, obviously we don't take these decisions lightly. And as we looked into it with Curtis's recommendations, it checked all the boxes. It just was a great solution for us. It contained our cost, expedited the build so that we could serve more families. It's accommodating to the workforce, and our volunteers can still contribute, but again, expediting the process. So it just checked every potential box. Energy efficiencies, which we have standards that we meet. And I think the final one was aesthetics. What will this high visibility project look like on the corner there of 72 and Bogai? Seems like a minor thing to consider, but we wanted to make sure that pride in home ownership and our families could feel confident and value something that they're buying. They buy these homes and work hard to help build them. And we looked into that. We had another example here locally, and we felt really confident as we researched it. So like I said, it checked all the boxes for those of you who might be asking, did you have to sacrifice anything? And at this stage, we really don't feel like we had to.
Well, thank you for that. And I do, yeah, we all have to recognize that the aesthetic aspect is really important when we're working, trying to create collaboration, community partners, and also, bring along the hearts and minds of the public and the neighbors and everything else, really prove that we're doing the right thing for the whole community, and sometimes that just comes down to visuals too. So we all, despite our best efforts, we do need to be aware of those things as well.
That's true.
Thank
If you
you
want to
so
be
much.
invited back to a community, everything counts. And like I said, when you're checking the boxes, that was something that was important to us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Ron and team from Sheboygan Habitat for Humanity, I would love to invite you to talk about what you're doing over on that side of the state.
I don't know how to unshare my screen here. I'm sorry.
We'll get there.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, we're finishing up 2 houses in Indian River right now, and they're all stick built. So we're always looking for other options to lower our cost and lower our workload on our volunteers, because that's what we're running under, is just volunteers. And we built 2 houses side by side, and the homeowners are just getting ready to move into them. And also we're starting 2 new homes in the same subdivision to do again this summer. So things are moving along. We feel like kind of quickly. So house after house, just putting families in them.
Yeah, that's a tough place to be with, like, trying to scale up and make sure you have those efficiencies, for your build times, but also if if you don't have a full staff really there,
Yeah.
that's an in-between space. It can feel like you know, you know how to do it better, but it's just really difficult to make up those numbers when you're trying to do 2 or 3 homes simultaneously. How many parcels do you have in that neighborhood that are left to build besides those next 2?
Just the final 2 that we're gonna be building on this summer, then we'll be looking for more property.
Spectacular. It's nice to hear from both habitats that you have such a strong volunteer participation. You know, I'm sure that's a blessing and a curse sometimes when you're organizing, but I think it's really nice to see, just as a, you know, community message, to say, hey, there's people ready and willing to continue to step up and show up. And, you know, there's lots of different ways to do that. And sometimes it's really just with your own energy. And
Yes.
there's room for all of that. And for us regionally, you know, sometimes it's expertise, sometimes it's financial, and sometimes it's just being willing to do the work. So it's really nice to hear that. I'm excited about that. I love the fact on the Sheboygan side, you're working small right now, but looking to take on a more significant neighborhood, or we're just going to try to do a couple at a time and keep
No, we
trucking.
were looking to go a little bit more houses every year, but right now we're staying at 2. And we did look at the manufactured housing side of it. It's still a little bit more expensive than doing it stick built, but we're relying on our volunteers to always show up by staying with stick built. So we are always looking at other options, and we did check out some Superior Wall pricing this year. It just didn't fit in because of our Superior Walls have to go, you know, underground more than in Traverse City. We have a different frost line here. But we're still checking in. It's always, that avenue is there for us.
Yeah, it's such an important part of the equation to just keep looking at different technologies and different, you know, production methods and structures. And that's the whole point of this group, so that we can share all these ideas and try to figure out, you know, take advantage of somebody else's research or somebody else's experience, and having these open conversations about, you know, which little technology works to move that needle or to change that number in your equation. You know, sometimes it runs really, really tight. Well, it always runs really, really tight. And it seems
Right.
like where we are right now, you know, as far as housing goes, the numbers never look good. So every single detail is important. I'm very enthused to sort of get the band back together as far as Housing Innovations Council goes. And I appreciate your patience today and your willingness to share the progress that you've been making. And I'll tell you what, Sheboygan, 2 homes a year is better than 1 home a year. So keep on, you know, keep on doing it. That's what we're all doing here, trying to just really change, you know, one thing at a time. It all matters. We're all working in that same really difficult space. Sarah York. So wonderful. Does anybody else have questions on the chat function that we can engage as far as our,
I have a question. I'm Doreen from the Cadillac Area Community Foundation.
Doreen?
And I'm just curious I'm getting more involved in the Habitat housing. And do they normally put garages on the Habitat houses? I see that Traverse City does.
We have in the past, I think there was way before my time, I think they did a shed option instead of a garage. Isn't that right, Wendy?
Yeah, we did decide to do that when we built the Depot neighborhood. We added garages since we're in the northern portion of the state and the harsh winter weather, and just in a development like that, was nice to accommodate those with just being able to have space and storage, right, to put their things in a larger scale development, so they can keep things tidy for the rest of this neighborhood. We do have a project in Kalkaska that we're starting next, 18 homes. It'll be a little bit different. We will have carports and for storage for their vehicles, but also these would be townhome style homes, and they'll be slightly different in size, will vary so that we can accommodate different household sizes. So not every project is the exact same, as you can probably see from our history, but we continue to try to be innovative, but, you know, as we look to overcome the challenges that we have. So I would think around the state, we vary. I don't think most affiliates do have garages. That's the simple answer.
I didn't think so. I was just curious about that. The foundation is in the process of buying some property for our Habitat here in Cadillac, and some property in Missaukee County for them also, because they just took on Missaukee County as part of their Habitat community. And I just wondered if you know, because they're doing kind of like what Curtis was talking about. It's kind of a community. And I just wondered if garages were normal or not. So
We have
hopefully
two
next
other,
Wednesday we'll have that all approved.
Sarah's here too, Sarah Ulrich, who is the executive director at the Habitat up in the northern portion of the state in Petoskey. So she is doing a project, Sarah. I don't know if you want to respond to that. I don't believe you have garages, and sometimes we have basements. That's very rare. It depends on the community where we're building, if it's accommodating, if it's conducive to that. We actually did a 6-home project in Maple City. 4 of the houses did not have basements. The final 2 did. And it just made sense in our numbers and our performance, and it made sense to accommodate the families, the larger scale, larger households. So we do vary. We're not as consistent. Depends on each property and each arrangement that we have.
Yeah, and frequently that land costs, like Al was saying, as we all know, if we can get the land for free, we can do a lot more with, as far as the dwellings are concerned. Sarah, feel free to jump on, but my understanding of what she's got going on up here in Emmett County is that the sites have been approved to have garages in the future if the residents have the ability or need to build. So go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just agree with what Wendy said. It's not a Habitat standard to have garages, but it's nice to offer that when you can make the numbers work for a project. And so one of the neighborhoods that we're working on right now, it was something that we couldn't consider based on project costs. So we set all the sites up in such a way that they're pre-approved for garages so that they can add them in the future if they choose to do that. And then some sites we do have garages because maybe they're in an HOA that requires that.
Yeah, the property that we're purchasing has pretty good sized lots, though they could build a garage later on if they wanted to. I just I didn't know Habitat built garages at all. So I was just really kind of excited about that.
Well, it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear, Doreen, that your group is, in that space with Habitat and sort of ready to collaborate and really step up, because that makes all the difference in the world for all of our community members. Really.
Well, yeah, we're just trying to fill some of the gap, the cost. And we figure if we buy this acreage, the infrastructure is already there. Water and sewage is already there. So that's a big plus. And then Missaukee County has not ever had a Habitat home. So they just collaborated with our Habitat in Cadillac here. So we want to buy some property over there for them to build houses. Pretty exciting.
Yeah, that is really exciting, and obviously a crucial piece, like we keep sort of referencing. Every bit counts. So every energy, every amount of collaboration that we can create these projects with, it makes a huge difference for us. Okay, well, if we're not seeing a whole lot of questions, that must mean you guys did a really, really great job with your presentations. It was all very clear. But again, I want to thank you for your time and for all your effort and research and your willingness to share, because we can all take advantage of it. Throughout the state of Michigan, all of our regional partners that are watching here. So thanks a lot, everybody. And for the next Housing Innovations Council, you will hear from Housing North probably in another couple of months. We'll get another collective of innovators in the space to present and to learn from again. So thanks, everybody. And have a wonderful rest of your Monday afternoon.